Heads up! You are in the Hoodwood. I'm the Black Bandit KJ Green, welcoming you to Sports from the Hoodwood. Coming up in this week's edition for June 7th, 2018, why the Cavs are just about done. The Cavs are so close, why they may make their fans sweat one more day, can justify joining the pantheon of Triple Crown winners, all that, fat dap and head slap, all coming up in This Week in the Hoodwood. Are you ready? Let's go.
You're tuned into Sports from the Hoodwood, the internet's foremost location for the most honest, inspiring insight and opinion on the world of sports. Now, once again, here's the man of the hour, After Hours, your host, KJ Green.
Greetings from the Hoodwood, where the weather is still kind of nice, hasn't gotten too humid, even though I about wore myself out walking tonight, walking 1.5 miles, and I think this old body is just about out of shape. But I'm going to try to get back into shape. I have to. It's just a requirement. Now let's start out with the postmortem. Well, not quite the postmortem. Not yet. But like I had said a few weeks ago, but with a different team, this time we're just going to say it this way. Cleveland bout finna get swept. I'm watching the Cavaliers play against the Warriors, and it's like watching, I think, what would have been the fighters at the Alamo against the Mexican Army. It's sad, really. LeBron James is trying as hard as he can, playing as best as he can. 51 points in the first game, a triple-double in Game 3. And what happened? They're down 0-3 to the Warriors. It doesn't matter what he does. It doesn't matter how hard he plays. The Warriors are just simply the better team. Now, last week on these very same airwaves, I picked the Warriors to win the 2018 NBA Finals in 5 games. Now, looking back now, I think I was overly optimistic. I mean, the Cavs did have a real shot to win Game 1 until J.R. Smith decided he would be a GOAT. Not the GOAT. A GOAT, with his inexplicable dribble out the last 4.7 seconds of a tie game after snagging an offensive rebound. A move that still, almost a week later, is still being debated and head scratched. What were you thinking? I mean, the look on the Cavs' faces at the end of regulation after Game 1 told the whole story. They let their best chance to steal a game on the road, snatch home court advantage, and make the series competitive slip through their hands like a wayward rebound. It's really sad that the Cavs wasted, and I mean wasted, a 51-point outburst from LeBron James. 51 points. That's the most points any player has ever scored in the finals and taken a loss. So, all I'm saying is the Cavaliers, you give them credit, fighting back from being down to Indiana, sweeping Toronto out as like so much trash, and then fighting back from 3-2 down to beat a good Boston team. But the Cavs are out of gas. And after never leading Game 2, with the series shifting to Cleveland, the Cavs raced out to a big lead, only to see the Warriors, like a patient spider, slowly, inexorably reel them in. And before too long, it was a Warriors win. Now, and I've said it before, Cleveland bout finna get swept. There's no getting around it. I'm sorry. Cleveland fans are cursing me. I've had family tell me I'm a traitor. It doesn't matter. The Cavs are, yes, a decent team, but they're not beating the Warriors. The Warriors have too much. And when you have two of your better players in Steph Curry and Klay Thompson have subpar games, and you still win by 9 points, win going away. I mean, Kevin Durant had a phenomenal game, and I suspect he may be on his way to his second straight Finals MVP. But the thing is this, and I feel sorry for LeBron James. He has given so much, played in all 82 games, averaging close to 42 minutes a game. The man has played over 100 games this season. He's tired. There's no getting around it. He is tired. He is worn out. And I don't care what you supposed experts say. The Cavaliers do not have a true supporting cast to take the burden off of LeBron James. Because if they did, he would need to have all of these Herculean efforts. He would need to have all of these out of this world performances. Now, I'm going to kind of shift around the tone of the program right now. We're going to take us a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the Caps, if they're looking at a Game 6 or hoisting their first Stanley Cup, because as I'm broadcasting now, the game is quickly drawing to a close. And we will look at the Triple Crown, if Justified can be the second horse in the last 4 years to win all three jewels of the Triple Crown. We'll talk about that and a few other things in just a moment. Stay close. As we continue on in the Hoodwood, kind of doing things a little different this time around. Well, you're going to have to give a tip of the cap to the Washington Capitals, whom after rallying to defeat the Vegas Golden Knights by the score of 4-3 have won their first Stanley Cup. And I figured applause and cheers are in order, especially for my buddy John Walton, who is the Caps play-by-play voice. I can imagine he's probably absolutely over the moon right now. And like I said, me being a Detroit Red Wings fan, I have seen my team, as I just think of it, my favorite hockey team, win 4 Stanley Cups in my lifetime. And the joy you get when your team finally makes it over the top. And for someone like Alex Ovechkin, who has been one of the most maligned hockey players of the last 25, 30 years, if not longer, couldn't win the big one, couldn't get his team over the hump. Well, he finally did it. He finally led his team to the title. And you gotta give a dap to the Vegas Golden Knights for their first season, getting all the way to the Stanley Cup final and winning the first game. Remember, they won Game 1 in Vegas, but after a while, the little engine that could finally ran out of steam, and the Caps finally, after so many near misses and so many playoff collapses and failures. I mean, they blew out Columbus after losing the first 2 games. They fell behind Pittsburgh, but then slayed that dragon, rallying to win that series. They were down 3-2 to Tampa and won a Game 7 on the road. And finally, like I said, this franchise has been around since 1975. And they were really horrid for a long time. And then they finally got good, but then they fell apart every time in the postseason. But this time, they finally got it done. And you're going to have to say that the Golden Knights, that's a team that's going to be built to last. That team is going to be strong for quite a while. I mean, they won 51 games in their first season. 51 games! Do you know how long it took the Caps to win 51 games as a franchise? 4 years. In the first 4 years, they were horrid. I mean, just terrible. But the Capitals are going to have their name etched onto hockey's silver chalice, the most beautiful trophy, I think, in sports, one of the most beautiful trophies in sports, and one of the oldest. But for the first time in franchise history, they are going to have their names on the trophy. And that's a good thing, and I'm happy for Washington. We're going to take another time out real quick, and we'll come back with some thoughts about Justify and can that little horsey win the Triple Crown. Stay close.